Hello everyone, this is MJ and you are at my channel called Reading This Life. My channel is where we talk fiction, friends, and fun. Today it's Tag Tuesday and I'm doing the New York City book tag. And as always, before we get started, remember to give this video a thumbs up. This tag is an original tag and it was created by Jim at his channel, Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. There are a number of prompts, all circulating and involving New York City, one of my favorite cities in the world. Are you ready? Let's go. Prompt number 1. What is your favorite book set in or around New York? I have a love-hate relationship with this book, but New York plays a prominent role throughout the whole book. So I'm going to say A Little Life by Hani Yanagihara. I read this last January. I was fearful of reading this book for a number of years, but once I finished it, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I read it. If you haven't read it, buckle up. It is a tough read, but when you're done with it, it is so well worth it. But one of the side characters is New York City. Most of the book, not all of the book, but most of the book takes place in and around the city. Question number 2. New York is famous for its skyscrapers. What is the highest building you have been to? I have been to the Empire State Building, and I've also been to the GE building in Detroit, Michigan. And that is a very, very cool experience. The Empire State Building, you go up and you can look on the observation deck and see around, which is really awesome. But in the GE building, you go all the way up to the top floor, and I don't know if there still is, but there used to be a cute little bar and restaurant, and it was like a 360, and you can see all the way over to Canada, because Canada is right across the river. And it was just a really, really cool experience. And when you're in the elevator, your ears really pop because you're going up so many floors. So I'll have to do some research and see which building is taller, and I'll put the answer right here. Prompt number 3. New York, New York. So good they named it twice. What is the last book that I reread? Well, I just read it last week, and that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And that was a group read over at my channel to kick off the holiday season. And I gave it 5 stars because it's just that good. Next prompt. American Psycho was a disturbing novel set in New York. What is the most disturbing novel you've read? That was recent. And that was Poking Holes by our own Juan Valencia from his channel, Plagued by Visions. This is a book of 9 short stories. Some of them are hella disturbing. I don't think any are set in New York, but super, super disturbing. Most disturbing book I've ever read, Poking Holes by Juan Valencia. And I loved it because the writing was really good, even though the material was really disturbing. Prompt number 5. Where were you when you heard the news about 9/11? I was actually on a business trip, and I was in a conference that had to talk about dealing with stress. And so many of us were in there, and we're starting the session, and it's 8:30, 8:45. People's cell phones are going off, and we're not sure what's going on. And we actually had someone from our group was from the Somerset, Pennsylvania, which is where Flight 93 went down, and he broke the news saying that someone flew into one of the buildings. And we thought it was just a freak accident, whatever. And then me being freaked out, just made the motion to cancel the stress conference, and can we just go in the bar and turn on the TVs because everybody's cell phone's going off, all that's going on. And it was just unbelievable. They basically canceled the conference. People went home to their families. And I remember trying to get in touch with my brother who used to fly to Canada twice a week for work. And the cellular lines were just, you couldn't call anybody. It was just so, so bad. And I remember just being worried for people in general, and just having that extreme sense of, like, what the fuck is happening? So yeah, and I remember, in grade school going to see the Twin Towers, and I remember taking a picture of it, and seeing what was going on in real time was just, it rocked my world. And so did, it rocked everybody's world. Yeah, I'll never forget it. And it was interesting because I remember I was with a coworker and we shared a room, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And it was as if some huge bang, clang, whatever, woke me up out of a deep sleep. And I remember just picking up my head and saying, what the hell was that? And I always wondered if there was, like, not a premonition, but like something alerting me that something was going to happen. No, I'll never forget that. That was the strangest feeling. Yeah, so that's where I was. 9/11. I was at a conference learning how to deal with stress. Next prompt. What is my favorite movie set in New York? I have to narrow it down to just one. I probably would have to say The Devil Wears Prada. I love that movie. I will watch it every single time it's on. New York to me is art and fashion and music and a constant buzz, and, Broadway, and just all of the sights and sounds. It is just such a magical city. Like, I can't even tell you. And if you've been to New York City or you live in New York City, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say The Devil Wears Prada, because New York is just fashion to me. It's brilliant. It is a brilliant, brilliant town. And when it's Fashion Week in New York, whoo, watch out. Question number 7. Have I been to New York? And when was the last time I visited New York? Yes, I've been to New York a number of times. I live 2.5 hours away from New York City, and I should go there way more often, but I don't. And I think my first trip to New York was probably with like a school field trip or something like that. I remember going to South Street Seaport. I remember going to see the Twin Towers. That was a lot of fun. I remember going to Benetton. That was a lot of fun. And then in college, I don't think I went in did I go in high school? No, I went in high school too. I remember going in high school. Went mostly, we have like a local bus charter that goes to New York City every day, because a lot of people near where I live, they live in the state I'm in, and then they travel to New York because it's cheaper. So they go to New York on the daily to work, and then they come back to my state. And I remember being there in high school with one boyfriend. And I remember being in college with another. And I've been to New York City with my husband a bunch of times. So, yeah. New York is a very cool place. And I go there to see concerts a lot. And I'll hook up with people that I know, people that are fans of the band. One of my favorite memories is my favorite band, Duran Duran, was on. They did a week. I think it was a week. They did a week on Broadway. And it was right when the Broadway strike happened. And I think they had to change venues. And I remember just like going to an after party and hanging out. And then we were freaking starving. So we went to like McDonald's at like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And walking through Times Square at 3 o'clock in the morning is just a slice of heaven. It is just a slice of heaven. You are literally like one of the only people walking around, and it's just beautiful. Like, it's just beautiful. You have to do it. You have to live it and do it to experience it. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And the last time I was in New York City was a long time ago. It was in 2016. It was in December. And I remember I made a special trip. That was the year David Bowie died. And I made a special trip to his apartment building where he lived. And I took a picture outside his apartment building of just the apartment building. And I said, I post it every year. And I'm like, if you know, you know. They sold that apartment, I think last year or something like that. I always make that little pilgrimage to go and see it. It's tough being a music fan. Oh gosh, who is my favorite painter from New York? Or what is your favorite painting of New York? I mean, favorite painter from New York? Or Keith Haring. Keith Haring is really good. I think he's from New York. Andy Warhol is not from New York. Jackson Pollock, is he from New York? I don't think so. Is he? Let me Google that. Where is Jackson Pollock from?
Jackson Pollock was born in Cody, Wyoming.
Nope, he's from Wyoming. Let's try Keith Haring. Is Keith Haring a New Yorker?
Here's what I found from wiki.org. Keith Allen Haring, May 4th, 1950 to February 16th, 19th.
Where was Keith Haring born?
Keith Haring was born in Reading, Pennsylvania.
He was born in Reading. Who's that one guy? Stephen Sprouse. Where was Stephen Sprouse born?
Stephen Sprouse was born in Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. Drawing a blank. All my favorite people aren't from New York. They're like all New Yorkers. They're born someplace else. Was Basquiat born in New York City?
I found this on the web.
Thank you. Okay, Basquiat. Basquiat was born in New York City. So Basquiat is my favorite painter born in New York City. Whew, that was tough. Number 9. What is my favorite song about New York? Goodness, there's a few. Okay, so I have a bunch. I can't narrow it down to just one. So I would say coming in number 3 is Andrew W.K. I love New York City. Coming in second would be Madonna, which is, I think it's I Love New York. Madonna from Confessions on a Dance Floor, one of her best albums. And number 1 would have to be David Bowie, New York's in Love, one of my absolute favorite songs that I still listen to today from like 1987, and it's fabulous. I'll leave a link to it down below. I'll leave links to all these songs down below if you want to listen to them. Okay, and those are the questions. Those are the prompts. So who am I going to tag? This is a newer tag, and I don't know who has done it or not. I know the people that were tagged. So I'm just going to rattle off some people that I think would like to do the tag. Let me think. Who? I'm going to go. I know a lot of people that don't live in New York. I'm going to go Book It with Wendy. She's a New Yorker. I'm going to go Jess Book Girl TV. She's a New Yorker. I'm going to go with Brian from Bookish. I'm going to go way across the pond, and I'm going to go Gareth from Book Songs and Other Magic. One more. I'm also going to tag Michael Romeo Talks Books. Make sure you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of others, and I will see you in my next video, which will be sooner rather than later. So until next time, everyone, goodbye for now. Rock on, New York.